shooter in El Paso posted a manifesto online consumed by racist hate. In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America. Hatred warps the mind, ravages the heart, and devours the soul. We have asked the FBI to identify all further resources they need to investigate and disrupt hate crimes and domestic terrorism, whatever they need. We must recognize that the Internet has provided a dangerous avenue to radicalize disturbed minds and perform demented acts. We must shine light on the dark recesses of the Internet and stop mass murders before they start. The perils of the Internet and social media cannot be ignored, and they will not be ignored. In the 2 decades since Columbine, our nation has watched with rising horror and dread as one mass shooting has followed another, over and over again, decade after decade. We cannot allow ourselves to feel powerless. We can and will stop this evil contagion. In that task, we must honor the sacred memory of those we have lost by acting as one people. Open wounds cannot heal if we are divided. We must seek real bipartisan solutions. We have to do that in a bipartisan manner that will truly make America safer and better for all.
Good afternoon. This is Joe with Simple Life. Today is August 7th, 2019. Cory Booker doesn't know what is going on. He can't make up his mind whether Trump is a white supremacist or not. Here recently, as you obviously know, unless you've been living under a rock, there's been a couple of more mass shootings there in El Paso and Dayton, Ohio. Of course, I live right near Dayton, so it kind of hits a little bit close to home for me as well. Of course, my thoughts and prayers goes out to everyone that was affected by these shootings. I think these things are a horrible thing every time they happen. Obviously, I think they're senseless violence. However, anytime something like this does happen, anytime there is a violent shooting, mass shooting, or anything like that, it becomes politicized to the point where it doesn't even make sense anymore. Cory Booker here just recently came out back in March. This video shows that Cory Booker was saying that Trump does not condemn white supremacy and actually endorses it. Of course, Trump, in the clip that preceded me opening up this video, shows that Trump clearly condemns white supremacy. I don't believe Trump is a racist. I don't believe he's a white supremacist. There's a lot of people out there that think that he is. The first thing that comes out of some people's mouths when Trump is, when someone brings up Trump is racist or misogynist or Islamophobic, or there's all kinds of different names that people can attribute to Trump for one reason or the other. But Cory Booker can't really seem to make up his mind. I'll let you take a look at this clip and you can decide. Well, if it will play, I don't know if it will or not.
Senator, another thing that the president said in his remarks.
And for him to fail even to condemn Nazis or even to talk about white supremacy as a problem in this country.
Well, let's go ahead and try that again. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Maybe it's my internet. Let's try to reload that. Just 1 second.
Even to talk about white supremacy as a... And for him to fail even to condemn Nazis or even to talk about white supremacy as a problem in this country, to me, that is being complicit in the violence that is happening.
Senator, another thing that the president said in his remarks today, I'll read it to you. He said, in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Do you welcome that acknowledgement?
No.
Okay, so you heard that. Cory Booker back in March of 2019 was openly condemning the president for not condemning white supremacy, racism. And of course, a lot of this goes back to Charlottesville. If you don't remember what Charlottesville, I'm sure most people remember what Charlottesville was. It was a juxtaposition of this entire presidency and the election cycle and so forth. So there was a lot of heated debate that went. There was a lot of bad things happened, and that's another topic. But I believe that's what caused all this. I mean, ever since Trump was decided that he was going to run, he was a racist, and this is very common with the Democrats, and it's a very unfortunate because I know that their hearts are usually in the right place. I'm not going to say Democrats are bad. I'm not going to say Republicans are bad, but most of the time their heart's in the right place. However, when it's election time, you will see this over and over and over again. And it's not even subtle anymore. You don't even have to make sense anymore. Cory Booker should be ashamed of himself. The president did come out and he condemned this. He condemned white supremacy. I believe that the president doesn't want to have anything to do with white supremacists. And if you believe that the president really is a white supremacist, I think that you need to really check your facts on that. That there's a lot of division going on in this country, and to pile on at this point, especially since so many people died in two towns, one of which is very close to me, is despicable and it's disgusting. But Cory Booker wasn't the only one that was kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Beto O'Rourke was, he was recorded cursing up a storm about all of this. And yeah, I get it. Beto O'Rourke, he is a representative, he's a Texas representative, his hometown's El Paso. I get it. I don't doubt that Mr. Representative O'Rourke has a lot of sore feelings about what's going on. However, to politicize this and to use this as some sort of political gain to gain any type of grounding or footing in the presidential election is, for lack of better words, disgusting. It's just, there's no way to describe it. It's disgusting what's going on right now. Anytime that there is some sort of, a shooting event, any kind of casualty, any kind of, if there's a hurricane, they're going to blame it on Trump. That's how ridiculous this has gotten. And people, if you can't see through this, if you can't see the game that's being played right now, then you need to open up your eyes, because they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Here's a clip of O'Rourke and his lack of better words when describing what's going on.
That the president can do now to make this any better?
What do you think? You know the shit he's been saying. He's been calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals. I don't know, like, members of the press. What the? Hold on a second. It's these questions that you know the answers to. Connect the dots about what he's been doing in this country. He's not tolerating racism. He's promoting racism. He's not tolerating violence. He's inciting racism and violence in this country.
At the end of the day, especially because this was a white supremacist manifesto, that I want to say with more moral clarity that Donald Trump is responsible.
And of course, we have more from Booker.
He's
here.
responsible because he is stoking fears and hatred and bigotry. He is responsible because he's failing to condemn white supremacy and see it as it is, which is responsible for such a significant amount of the terrorist attacks.
I am sure that President Trump does not want anybody in this country to go around shooting other people. But what he has got to understand is that when you have language that is racist, that is virulently anti-immigrant, there are mentally unstable people in this country who see that as a sign to do terrible, terrible things.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there because there's a lot of points I want to make here. First one with O'Rourke. using foul language that doesn't gain you any points. It's not going to gain you any points with the millennials. I'll leave it right there. Yeah, I understand that he's probably sore about what's going on. Everyone's sore what's going on. Why don't we try to get over it and move forward? And if we can find something, common sense regulations for guns, I would be more than happy to look at that and support that. However, trying to politicize all these things does not make any sense. Okay, with Booker and the second clip that we saw right after O'Rourke. Here's the thing: there's nuts out there, and I read the manifesto for the El Paso shooter. I read the whole thing. It wasn't too long. It was like 2 or 3 pages, and within the first paragraph, you knew this guy was mentally unstable. It's not like this guy is a upright standing citizen. He is obviously a racist, which has no place in this country. Period. End of story. If you believe that you're superior and someone else is not, then that's not one of the ideals of this country. It's not what it was founded on. I know that there can be a lot of debate when it comes to that as well. However, America, the United States, has always prided ourselves on rising above certain things and becoming better and always trying to become better. But this type of stuff that we're seeing right now is not an example of that. We are running around and we're pointing the fingers at all kinds of stuff at anything besides the actual shooter. And we do this every single time. But we keep listening to this and we have knee-jerk reactions to these things. Now, Senator Sanders, he does make a good point. Yeah, Trump is not wanting to have people going around shooting people. If he was, then that would be absolutely insane and he should be impeached 100%. But he's not doing that. When it comes to immigration, the only thing Trump has talked about was that the massive influx of immigration, the way it's being done right now, is chaotic and it has turned into a crisis because our border agents simply can't take on they don't have the resources for all that. And these immigrants are flooding over the border. Now, yes, was this country founded on immigrants? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. I completely agree with that. But to use that as an excuse for everything, because if you don't agree with whatever the Democrats are saying, or even some of the Republicans are saying, then that automatically labels you as a racist. And anytime something happens, then you are part of the side. You basically are endorsing mass murder. And that is absolutely insane. It has no point in any kind of rational discussion. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that every time that a mass shooting happens, do you think that let me phrase that a little bit different. Should we think differently about how we use our rhetoric every time something like this happens? Because it's become so easy with social media to fly off the handle, and I can understand regular people doing it because they do it with every single thing. But politicians, people take their cues from the media. And the media wants to blame Trump, but the media has a lot to do with this as well because they have painted Trump as a racist. They have taken everything that Trump has said and construed it into something that it might not be. And in the vast majority of the examples of when the mass media has called Trump a racist, they haven't really backed it up with anything. So if the mass media says something's true, then it has to be true. And I believe we've reached the point where people have they've lost the ability to do any research and any third-party research when it comes to forming their own opinions. I know that I try to look at all types of sources of information before I make up my mind about anything. And at the point, I haven't made up my mind about this or anything else. Everything is constantly evolving. But some people have just made up their mind about Trump. Says, oh, well, he's a racist, and anytime there's a shooting, then it's because of Trump. Well, Trump is an easy target. And you have to understand that whoever is the president, they're always going to be the target no matter what happens. Now, what they won't tell you is that the shooter in Dayton was a left-wing, liberal, Antifa supporting Democrat. They don't want to tell you that because, well, I mean, what would that mean? Would that mean that Democrats are all crazy? No, I don't believe that liberals are all crazy. I think that a lot of liberals have. I used to be a liberal myself. Now I'm just kind of I'm in the middle. I'm a free agent. I'm totally free. I don't affiliate with any party. And I believe that's the way it should be. I don't think that you should just choose teams and no matter what happens, that you have undying loyalty to one party or the other. I think that's closed-minded. But the division right now and the absolute separation between what is logical and what's not has reached epic proportions, and you have no choice but to choose sides because it's either lunacy or it's rationality. And there's so many layers of this onion that it's so hard that you end up crying no matter what because you really have no idea what's going on half the time. So you have to do your research. You have to be rational about how you're thinking about this. So I'm going to leave this for you right now. I'll be coming back with another video soon. And don't forget to subscribe. And also, just keep in mind, though, that the simplicity of life and how you can live your life in a simple way, and you can bypass the confusion, the political rhetoric that's constantly surrounding us, will make you happier, I guarantee you. You need to turn the TV off every once in a while. You need to go outside and just do simple things. So until next time, this is Joe Simple Life, and have a great day.